The vast chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with tension, its ornate walls seeming to close in as Commander Lucas Grimes stood before the imposing figures of the alien representatives. His weathered face, etched with the lines of countless battles and sleepless nights, betrayed no emotion. But beneath his stoic exterior, a storm brewed. "Commander Grimes," the booming voice of Zarkalath, the Thraxian representative, filled the room. "We await humanity's decision. Will you join us in this war against the Nexari Dominion?" Grimes's steel-blue eyes scanned the room, taking in the expectant faces of the council members. Some leaned forward in anticipation, others whispered among themselves. In the corner, he caught sight of his old friend and ally, Commander Takalis of the Astrian Confederation. The concern in Takalis's four eyes was palpable. "Honored members of the council," Grimes began, his voice steady and resolute. "After careful consideration, I must inform you that humanity will not be joining this conflict." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. Shock, disbelief, and outrage mingled in the air. Grimes stood his ground, unflinching in the face of the council's reaction. Zarkalath's massive form rose from his seat, his crimson scales gleaming under the chamber's lights. "Commander Grimes, surely you jest. The Nexari threat looms over us all. How can humanity stand idle?" Before Grimes could respond, Sindarthan, the Sylphoid representative, interjected with a sneer. "Perhaps the humans have grown too comfortable in their isolation. They've forgotten how to fight." Laughter rippled through the chamber, but Grimes remained impassive. He'd anticipated this reaction, but it didn't make it any easier to bear. "Our decision stands," Grimes stated firmly. "Humanity will continue to provide logistical support and medical aid, as we have done in recent conflicts. But we will not commit our forces to direct combat." As the council descended into chaos, Grimes caught sight of Takalis slipping out of the chamber. He knew his old friend would be waiting to speak with him privately. Outside the chamber, in a quiet alcove, Takalis's worried voice reached Grimes before he even turned the corner. "Lucas, what are you doing? This isn't like you, or humanity." Grimes sighed, the weight of his decision heavy on his shoulders. "Takalis, you know I can't discuss the details, but trust me when I say this is the right call." Takalis's four eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of distress in his species. "The council won't take this lightly. They're already talking about sanctions, about cutting Earth off from galactic trade routes." "Let them talk," Grimes replied, his jaw set. "We'll weather this storm." As they spoke, the doors to the council chamber burst open. A group of representatives spilled out, their voices carrying down the corridor. "Did you see Grimes's face? Cold as ice," one of them, a Meridian with shimmering liquid-like skin, commented. "I always thought humans were supposed to be passionate." "Passionate? Ha!" This came from Sindarthan, his willowy form towering over the others. "They're cowards, plain and simple. 20 years of minimal involvement in galactic affairs, and now this? They've gone soft." Grimes and Takalis pressed themselves against the wall, listening to the conversation unfold. "But what if there's more to it?" This voice was softer, belonging to Reynos, the Centauri diplomat. "Humans have always been unpredictable." "Unpredictable? Try unreliable," Zarkalath growled. "We should have never allowed them into the council in the first place. Look at their history, always squabbling among themselves. And now, when we need them most, they turn their backs on us." The group moved on, their voices fading, but the weight of their words hung in the air. Takalis turned to Grimes, his expression a mix of concern and curiosity. "Lucas, my friend, I've known you for years. I've fought alongside humans. This isn't like you. What's really going on?" Grimes met Takalis's gaze, his blue eyes filled with a determination that surprised even his old friend. "Takalis, I need you to trust me. There's more at stake here than anyone realizes." "Hey there, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel to grow and reach more people. Now let's find out what comes next. I wish I could tell you more, but for now, this is how it has to be. Takalis' lower set of eyes narrowed, while the upper pair widened, a complex expression that Grimes had learned to interpret as deep thought. Very well, Lucas. I don't understand, but I trust you. Just be careful. The political landscape is shifting, and humanity might find itself without allies when you need them most. As they parted ways, Grimes couldn't shake the feeling that he was walking a tightrope. One misstep, and everything could come crashing down. Back on the human diplomatic vessel, the atmosphere was tense. Lieutenant Commander Victoria Lynn, Grimes' second-in-command, was waiting for him in the briefing room. Her usually composed features were marred by a frown. "How bad is it, sir?" she asked as soon as the door slid shut behind him. Grimes ran a hand through his salt and pepper hair. "About as bad as we expected, Victoria. The Council's not taking our decision well." Lynn nodded, her dark eyes sharp. "And the Astrians? Commander Takalis?" "Concerned, but he trusts us. For now." Grimes moved to the viewport, staring out at the glittering expanse of stars. "We knew this wouldn't be easy, but seeing the disappointment in Takalis' eyes, it's harder than I anticipated." Lynn moved to stand beside him. "Sir, with all due respect, are we sure about this course of action? The crew's been talking. They don't understand why we're holding back when the Nexari threat is so severe." Grimes turned to face her, his expression grave. "Victoria, what I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this room. Understood?" Lynn straightened, her posture rigid. "Of course, sir. The Nexari aren't the real threat here. They're a smokescreen, a distraction from something far worse." Grimes's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. "We've detected anomalies at the edge of known space. Energy signatures unlike anything we've ever seen before. Whatever's coming, it makes the Nexari look like a schoolyard bully." Lynn's eyes widened. "But sir, if that's true, shouldn't we be warning the Council, pooling our resources?" Grimes shook his head. "And risk mass panic? Or worse, have some trigger-happy species decide to launch a preemptive strike against an enemy we barely understand? No, for now we need to play our cards close to the chest. We need time to prepare, to understand what we're up against. And that's why we're not committing to this war." Lynn breathed, realization dawning. "We're conserving our strength." "Exactly," Grimes nodded. "But the Council can't know, not yet. We need to appear weak, disinterested. It's the only way to buy ourselves the time we need." As the weight of this revelation settled over them, an alert chimed from the communication console. Lynn moved to answer it, her face paling as she read the message. "Sir, you need to see this," she said, her voice tight. Grimes joined her at the console, his eyes scanning the urgent transmission. It was from Earth's Central Command, marked with the highest level of security clearance. "The anomalies," Grimes muttered. "They're growing, spreading faster than we anticipated." Lynn looked up at him, fear and determination warring in her eyes. "What do we do now, sir?" Grimes squared his shoulders, his jaw set in grim determination. "We stick to the plan, Victoria. We play the long game. The galaxy thinks humanity has grown weak, complacent. Let them think that. When the time comes, they'll see just how wrong they are." As they stood there, the weight of their secret bearing down on them, the stars outside seemed to flicker ominously. The true battle was just beginning, and humanity would need every ounce of its legendary resilience to face what was coming. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Galactic Council's headquarters, a clandestine meeting was taking place. 5 of the most influential council members had gathered in a secure room, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. Zarkalath's massive form dominated one end of the table. "This human defiance cannot stand. We must take action." Sinderthan nodded in agreement. his elongated fingers steepled before him. Perhaps it's time we reminded humanity of their place in the galactic order. A show of force, perhaps? Reynos, the Centauri diplomat, raised a hand in caution. Let's not be hasty. Humans have always been unconventional in their approach. There might be more to this than meets the eye. Unconventional? Scoffed Dralcor, the Vulcaran strategist. His metallic skin gleamed as he leaned forward. They're being cowards, plain and simple. 20 years of minimal involvement, and now this? They've grown soft, content to hide behind their borders while the rest of us fight and die. The fifth member of the group, Kira, the Florian empath, had remained silent until now. Her petal-like appendages rustled as she spoke, her voice soft but firm. I sense uncertainty from the humans. Fear, yes, but not of the Nexari. There's something else. Something they're not telling us. Zarkalath's eyes narrowed. What are you suggesting, Kira? That the humans know something we don't? It's possible, Kira replied. Humans have always been adept at gathering intelligence. Perhaps they've uncovered a threat we're not aware of. Sindarthan waved a dismissive hand. Nonsense, they're simply afraid. Their history is littered with internal conflicts. They lack the unity and strength to face a true galactic threat. Dralcor nodded in agreement. We should use this opportunity to our advantage. With humanity sidelined, we can reshape the power dynamics of the Council. Perhaps it's time to reconsider their seat altogether. Reynos' eyes widened in alarm. That's a dangerous path, Dralcor. Humanity may be holding back now, but they're still a formidable force. Alienating them completely could have severe consequences. Consequences? Zarkalath growled. What consequences could there be from a species too afraid to fight? No, I agree with Dralcor. It's time we showed humanity that the galaxy has no place for cowards. As the debate raged on, none of them noticed the small spider-like drone clinging to the ceiling. Its optical sensors recorded every word, every gesture, transmitting the data through encrypted channels to a waiting human vessel. Aboard that vessel, in a dimly lit command center, a team of human intelligence officers watched the secret council meeting unfold. At the head of the team stood Colonel Diane Thalwyn, her sharp green eyes taking in every detail of the transmission. Well, well, she murmured, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. It seems our little act of cowardice has stirred up quite the hornet's nest. Lieutenant Emile Valeri, the team's cryptanalyst, looked up from his console. Ma'am, should we inform Commander Grimes about this development? Thalwyn shook her head, her short-cropped silver hair catching the light from the holographic displays. Not yet. Let's see how this plays out. The more they underestimate us, the better. She turned to face her team, her expression serious. Remember, people, what we're doing here is vital. The Council thinks we've gone soft, that we're afraid. Let them think that. When the real threat emerges, they'll be looking in all the wrong directions. As her team nodded in understanding, Thalwyn couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. Humanity was walking a dangerous line, playing a game of deception on a galactic scale. But with the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hanging in the balance, they had no choice. The pieces were in motion. Now, all they could do was wait and prepare for the storm that was coming. The Galactic Council chamber, once a symbol of unity and cooperation, had become a pressure cooker of tension and barely concealed hostility. The grand holographic displays that usually showed star charts and trade routes now flickered with images of devastation. Worlds ravaged by the Nexari Dominion's relentless advance. Zarkalath, the Thraxian representative, stood before the assembly, his massive form casting a shadow over the central podium. The Nexari have pushed beyond the Orion Arm, he growled, his voice a low rumble that seemed to vibrate through the chamber. 3 more systems have fallen in the past solar cycle alone. Billions of lives hang in the balance. The holographic display shifted, showing a real-time battle unfolding in the Centauri sector. Sleek Nexari warships tore through the defending fleet's formations with ruthless efficiency. The assembled council members watched in stunned silence as an entire planetary defense grid collapsed under the onslaught. "This is what we face," Zarkalath continued, his crimson scales gleaming under the harsh light. "An enemy that shows no mercy, no hesitation. And yet..." His gaze swept across the chamber, settling on the human delegation. "Some among us choose to stand idle." Commander Lucas Grimes felt the weight of every alien eye in the room. He maintained his composure, but beneath the table, his fists clenched until his knuckles turned white. Cinder Than, the willowy Sylphoid representative, rose from his seat. "Perhaps our human friends need a reminder of what's at stake," he said, his voice dripping with barely concealed contempt. "Shall we show them the footage from Novus Prime? Or perhaps the remains of the Astrian colony on Theta 9? Before Grimes could respond, the chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices. Some called for immediate action, others demanded sanctions against Earth. The din grew louder, a storm of alien languages and translator implants struggling to keep up. Amidst the chaos, Reynos, the Centauri diplomat, managed to make herself heard. "We cannot afford division in our ranks," she pleaded. "The Nexari prey on our disunity. Commander Grimes, surely you must see reason. Humanity's strength could turn the tide of this war." Grimes stood slowly, his movements deliberate. The chamber fell silent, all eyes on the human commander. "Madame Tal," he began, his voice steady. "Humanity understands the gravity of the situation, but our position remains unchanged. We will continue to provide logistical and medical support, as we have done in recent conflicts, but we will not commit our forces to direct combat." The silence that followed was deafening. Then, like a dam breaking, the chamber exploded into chaos once more. Accusations of cowardice and betrayal flew freely. Some representatives stormed out in disgust, while others huddled in small groups, whispering furiously. As the session devolved into disorder, Grimes caught sight of his old friend, Commander Tikalis of the Astrian Confederation. The alien's 4 eyes were filled with a mixture of disappointment and confusion. Grimes gave him a subtle nod, a silent promise that all was not as it seemed. Later, in a quiet corridor of the council building, Grimes found himself cornered by a group of agitated representatives. Zarkalath loomed over him, the Thraxian's massive bulk blocking any escape route. "You test our patience, human," Zarkalath rumbled. "Do you think your world is safe from the Nexari? That your neutrality will protect you?" Grimes met the alien's gaze unflinchingly. "We have made our decision, Counselor. I suggest you respect it." Cinder Than slithered forward, his elongated face twisted in a sneer. "Respect? You speak of respect while you abandon your allies? Perhaps we should reconsider humanity's place in this council altogether." The threat hung in the air, heavy and unmistakable. Grimes felt a flicker of anger, quickly suppressed. He had anticipated this, but the reality of it still stung. "Is that a formal motion, Counselor?" Grimes asked, his voice cold. "Because I'd be happy to put it to a vote. I wonder how many of your trade partners would support cutting ties with Earth and its colonies." The aliens exchanged glances, their bravado faltering slightly. Earth's economic influence was not something to be dismissed lightly. Before the confrontation could escalate further, a new voice cut through the tension. "Gentlemen, is this really necessary?" They turned to see Reynos approaching, her silvery skin shimmering under the corridor's lights. "We face extinction at the hands of the Nexari, and here you are, squabbling like children." Zarkalath growled low in his throat, but stepped back. Cinder Than's antennae twitched in irritation, but he too retreated. Lyra turned to Grimes, her expression softening. "Commander, please. We've known each other for years. I've seen humanity's courage firsthand. Why this reluctance now, when we need you most?" Grimes sighed, allowing a hint of weariness to show through his stoic facade. "Lyra, it's complicated. There are factors at play that I can't discuss, but you have to trust that we're doing what's best for everyone, not just humanity." Lyra studied him for a long moment, her iridescent eyes searching his face. "I hope you know what you're doing, Lucas," she said softly. "Because if Earth stands aside and the Nexari win, there won't be a galaxy left to save." As the alien representatives dispersed, Grimes allowed himself a moment of doubt. The weight of his secret knowledge pressed down on him, threatening to crush him beneath its burden. But he steeled himself, remembering the stakes. They had to stay the course, no matter the cost. Back on the human diplomatic vessel, Lieutenant Commander Victoria Lynn was waiting for Grimes in his private office. Her usually composed features were marred by a frown of concern. "How bad is it, sir?" she asked, as soon as the door slid shut behind him. Grimes sank into his chair, suddenly feeling every one of his years. "About as bad as we expected, Victoria. The Council's patience is wearing thin. We may be facing sanctions, possibly even expulsion if we don't change our stance." Lynn's frown deepened. "Sir, with all due respect, are we sure about this course of action? The crew's been talking. They don't understand why we're holding back when the Nexari threat is so severe." Grimes leaned forward, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "Victoria, what I'm about to tell you doesn't leave this room. Understood?" Lynn nodded, her posture straightening. "The Nexari aren't the real threat here," Grimes continued. "They're a smokescreen, a distraction from something far worse. We've detected anomalies at the edge of known space. Energy signatures unlike anything we've ever seen before. Whatever's coming, it makes the Nexari look like a schoolyard bully." Lynn's eyes widened in shock. "But sir, if that's true, shouldn't we be warning the Council? Pooling our resources?" Grimes shook his head. "And risk mass panic? Or worse, have some trigger-happy species decide to launch a preemptive strike against an enemy we barely understand? No, for now, we need to play our cards close to the chest. We need time to prepare, to understand what we're up against." As the weight of this revelation settled over them, an alert chimed from the communication console. Lynn moved to answer it, her face paling as she read the message. "Sir, you need to see this," she said, her voice tight. Grimes joined her at the console, his eyes scanning the urgent transmission. It was from Earth's Central Command, marked with the highest level of security clearance. "The anomalies," Grimes muttered. "They're growing, spreading faster than we anticipated." Lynn looked up at him, fear and determination warring in her eyes. "What do we do now, sir?" Before Grimes could respond, the door to his office slid open. Sergeant Major Selina Moriyama strode in, her weathered face set in a grim expression. "Commander," she said, snapping a crisp salute. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" Grimes nodded, sensing the storm brewing behind the veteran's eyes. "Sir, the troops are restless," Moriyama began, her voice tight with barely contained emotion. "We're watching our allies get slaughtered out there while we sit on our hands. It's not right, sir. It's not what we signed up for." Grimes felt a pang of sympathy for the sergeant major. Selina Moriyama was a decorated veteran, a soldier's soldier who had seen more combat than most of the crew combined. Her frustration was understandable, even admirable. "I understand your concerns, Sergeant Major," Grimes replied carefully, "but there are factors at play here that you're not aware of." Moriyama's eyes flashed. "With all due respect, sir, what factors could possibly justify standing by while billions die? We have the power to make a difference. Why aren't we using it?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Grimes could feel Lynn's eyes on him, silently urging him to reveal the truth. But he couldn't. Not yet. The risk was too great. "Sergeant Major," Grimes said, his voice low and intense, "I need you to trust me. To trust that every decision we make is for the greater good, not just of humanity, but of the entire galaxy." Moriyama held his gaze for a long moment, searching for something in his eyes. Whatever she saw there seemed to give her pause. "I've followed you into hell before, sir," she said finally, "and I'll do it again. But the troops need something. Some sign that we haven't lost our spine." Grimes nodded slowly. "I understand. And I promise you, Sergeant Major, when the time comes, and it will come, humanity will show the galaxy exactly what we're capable of." As Moriyama left, Grimes turned back to Lin. The weight of their secret knowledge hung between them, a shared burden that threatened to crush them both. "We're walking a dangerous line, Victoria," he said softly. "But we have to hold the course. The fate of everything depends on it." Lin nodded, her face set in grim determination. "I understand, sir. Whatever comes, we'll face it together." As they stood there, the stars outside seemed to flicker ominously. The true battle was just beginning, and humanity would need every ounce of its legendary resilience to face what was coming. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Galactic Council's headquarters, another clandestine meeting was taking place. 5 of the most influential council members had gathered in a secure room, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. Zarkalath's massive form dominated one end of the table. "This human defiance cannot stand. We must take action." Cinder Than nodded in agreement, his elongated fingers steepled before him. "Perhaps it's time we reminded humanity of their place in the galactic order. A show of force, perhaps." Reynos raised a hand in caution. "Let's not be hasty. Humans have always been unconventional in their approach. There might be more to this than meets the eye." "Unconventional," scoffed Dralcor, the Volcran strategist. His metallic skin gleamed as he leaned forward. "They're being cowards, plain and simple. 20 years of minimal involvement and now this. They've grown soft, content to hide behind their borders while the rest of us fight and die." The 5th member of the group, Kira, the Florian empath, had remained silent until now. Her petal-like appendages rustled as she spoke, her voice soft but firm. "I sense uncertainty from the humans. Fear, yes, but not of the Nexari. There's something else, something they're not telling us." Zarkalath's eyes narrowed. "What are you suggesting, Kira? That the humans know something we don't?" "It's possible," Kira replied. "Humans have always been adept at gathering intelligence. Perhaps they've uncovered a threat we're not aware of." Cinder Than waved a dismissive hand. "Nonsense. They're simply afraid. Their history is littered with internal conflicts. They lack the unity and strength to face a true galactic threat." Dralcor nodded in agreement. "We should use this opportunity to our advantage. With humanity sidelined, we can reshape the power dynamics of the Council. Perhaps it's time to reconsider their seat altogether." Reynos' eyes widened in alarm. "That's a dangerous path, Dralcor. Humanity may be holding back now, but they're still a formidable force. Alienating them completely could have severe consequences." "Consequences?" Zarkalath growled. "What consequences could there be from a species too afraid to fight?" "No, I agree with Dralcor. It's time we showed humanity that the galaxy has no place for cowards." As the debate raged on, none of them noticed the small, spider-like drone clinging to the ceiling. Its optical sensors recorded every word, every gesture, transmitting the data through encrypted channels to a waiting human vessel. Aboard that vessel, in a dimly lit command center, a team of human intelligence officers watched the secret council meeting unfold. At the head of the team stood Colonel Diane Thalwyn, her sharp green eyes taking in every detail of the transmission. "Well, well," she murmured, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "It seems our little act of cowardice has stirred up quite the hornet's nest." Lieutenant Emile Valeri, the team's cryptanalyst, looked up from his console. "Ma'am, should we inform Commander Grimes about this development?" Thalwyn shook her head, her short-cropped silver hair catching the light from the holographic displays. "Not yet. Let's see how this plays out. The more they underestimate us, the better." She turned to face her team, her expression serious. "Remember, people, What we're doing here is vital. The Council thinks we've gone soft, that we're afraid. Let them think that. When the real threat emerges, they'll be looking in all the wrong directions. As her team nodded in understanding, Thalwyn couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. Humanity was walking a dangerous line, playing a game of deception on a galactic scale. But with the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hanging in the balance, they had no choice. The pieces were in motion. Now, all they could do was wait and prepare for the storm that was coming. The tension in the Galactic Council chamber was palpable as Commander Lucas Grimes strode purposefully towards the central podium. The assembled alien representatives watched with a mixture of anticipation and skepticism, their earlier jeers and dismissive comments now replaced by an uneasy silence. Grimes's face was a mask of determination, his eyes scanning the room before settling on the imposing figure of High Counselor Zaxitara. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Grimes began, his voice carrying a weight that commanded attention. "In light of recent developments, I am here to announce that humanity will be joining the conflict against the Nexari Dominion." A collective gasp rippled through the chamber, followed by a cacophony of excited whispers and exclamations. High Counselor Zaxitara leaned forward, her luminescent eyes narrowing as she studied the human commander. "Commander Grimes," she intoned, her melodious voice tinged with surprise. "This is unexpected. What has prompted this sudden change in humanity's stance?" Grimes's expression remained impassive as he responded, "The situation has evolved, High Counselor. We believe our intervention is now necessary to preserve the balance of power in this sector." As Grimes spoke, the massive holographic display at the center of the chamber flickered to life, showcasing a detailed tactical map of the contested region. The Nexari forces, represented by a swarm of red markers, were steadily advancing through key star systems. "Our intelligence suggests that the Nexari are employing new tactics and technologies that pose a greater threat than initially assessed," Grimes continued, manipulating the holographic display with practiced ease. "Humanity is prepared to commit significant resources to turn the tide of this conflict." The council chamber erupted into a frenzy of reactions. Some representatives cheered, relief evident on their alien features. Others exchanged worried glances, their earlier mockery of human weakness now replaced by uncertainty. Counselor Dethalor, a battle-scarred veteran of the Taurian Imperium, rose from his seat. "Commander Grimes," he growled, mandibles clicking in agitation, "while we welcome your support, forgive me for expressing doubt. Humanity has avoided direct conflict for decades. What makes you think you can make a difference now?" Grimes allowed himself a small, enigmatic smile. "Counselor Dethalor, I understand your skepticism, but I assure you humanity has not been idle during our years of non-intervention. We have been preparing." With a gesture, Grimes brought up a new set of holograms, showcasing sleek, unfamiliar ship designs and weapon schematics that elicited murmurs of surprise from the assembled aliens. "These are just a fraction of the assets we're prepared to bring to bear," Grimes explained. "Our fleet is equipped with advanced stealth technology, adaptive shield systems, and weaponry specifically designed to counter Nexari defenses." As the council members leaned in to study the impressive displays, a sudden commotion near the chamber's entrance drew everyone's attention. A breathless aide rushed in, making a beeline for High Counselor Zaxitara. The two conferred in hushed tones for a moment, before Zaxitara's eyes widened in shock. "Commander Grimes," she addressed the human, her voice tight with urgency. "We've just received reports of an anomalous energy signature detected at the edge of the Nexari-controlled space. Our sensors are having difficulty interpreting the data, but it appears to be some kind of station?" Grimes' reaction was subtle, a slight tightening around his eyes, a barely perceptible straightening of his posture. But it didn't go unnoticed by the more observant council members. "High Counselor," Grimes replied smoothly. "If I may, I believe this development is precisely why humanity's intervention is crucial at this juncture. We have anticipated such an occurrence." The chamber fell into stunned silence as Grimes manipulated the holographic display once more. A new image materialized, a massive, otherworldly structure, pulsing with energy that defied conventional understanding. This, esteemed council members, is what we believe to be an ancient precursor outpost, Grimes explained, his voice steady despite the gravity of the revelation. Our deep space monitoring networks detected faint signals from this location months ago, but we needed time to verify and prepare. Councillor Coronath, a renowned Quantari scientist, leapt to her feet. "Impossible!" she exclaimed, her tentacles writhing in agitation. "The precursors are nothing but myth. And even if such a station existed, how could humanity possibly have knowledge of it that escaped the rest of the galactic community?" Grimes met her gaze evenly. "Councillor Coronath, humanity has dedicated significant resources to archaeological and xenotechnological research over the past decades. We've developed methods of detecting and interpreting signals that others might overlook. This station's activation poses both a threat and an opportunity, one that we are uniquely positioned to address." As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the council chamber. The holographic displays flickered, distorted by waves of interference emanating from the newly revealed precursor station. "It's emitting some kind of disruptive field," shouted a technician, frantically working at a console. "Our long-range communications are going haywire, and weapon systems across the sector are reporting malfunctions." Panic began to spread among the council members, but Grimes remained a pillar of calm amidst the chaos. He raised his voice to be heard above the din. "This is precisely the scenario we've prepared for," he declared. "Humanity's fleet is equipped with countermeasures designed to operate in these conditions. We can not only protect our allies from these disruptions, but also potentially harness the station's power to end this conflict decisively." High Councillor Tara studied Grimes intently, her earlier skepticism giving way to a grudging respect. "Commander," she said, her voice carrying above the commotion, "it seems we have underestimated humanity's capabilities. What do you propose?" Grimes nodded, bringing up a detailed battle plan on the main display. "We'll deploy our fleet in 3 phases, he explained, highlighting key strategic points. "First, we'll establish a defensive perimeter to protect our allies from the station's disruptive effects. Then we'll launch a coordinated strike against the Nexari's main fleet, using their confusion to our advantage. Finally, we'll send a specialized team to secure the precursor station itself." As Grimes laid out the plan, the council members watched in growing amazement. The human fleet formations adapted in real time to the changing battlefield conditions, showcasing a level of tactical flexibility that many had thought impossible. "Our ships are equipped with AI-assisted command and control systems," Grimes continued, "allowing for microsecond adjustments to formation and targeting. We've also developed specialized EMP weapons that can disable Nexari ships without destroying them, minimizing collateral damage and potentially allowing for capture of enemy vessels and technology." The holographic display shifted, showing a simulation of the upcoming battle. Human ships moved with uncanny precision, their formations flowing like water around enemy fire while delivering devastating counterattacks. It was a dance of destruction and protection, a symphony of strategic brilliance that left even the most hardened military minds in the council chamber in awe. This is unprecedented," murmured Councillor Thaler, his earlier doubts evaporating. "If even half of what you're showing us is accurate, Commander Grimes, this could change the entire course of the war." Grimes allowed himself a small nod of acknowledgement. "That is our intention, Counselor. Humanity may have been absent from the battlefield, but we have not been idle. Every moment of our preparation has led to this." As the council members continued to study the battle plans with growing excitement, Grimes turned his attention back to the image of the precursor station. For a brief moment, a flicker of concern crossed his face, a micro-expression caught only by the keenest observers. It was clear that even with all their preparation, humanity was stepping into uncharted territory. "High Councillor Tara," Grimes addressed the council leader. "With your permission, we're prepared to launch our operation immediately." Every moment we delay gives the Nexari more time to adapt to the station's influence. Zaxitara looked around the chamber, taking in the mix of hope and apprehension on the faces of her fellow council members. With a solemn nod, she made her decision. Commander Grimes, you have the full support of the Galactic Council. Deploy your forces, and may the stars guide you to victory. As Grimes bowed slightly in acknowledgement, the chamber erupted into a flurry of activity. Council members rushed to contact their respective governments, relaying the news of humanity's intervention and the game-changing battle to come. In the midst of the commotion, Grimes stepped away from the podium, tapping a discreet communicator on his wrist. Admiral Go, initiate Operation Helios. All ships, commence launch sequence. Across the galaxy, in hidden shipyards and cloaked orbital facilities, humanity's true might began to stir. Vessels of sleek alien design slipped out of concealment, their hulls gleaming with technology that blurred the line between science and magic. Crews that had trained for years in secret simulations now moved with purpose, their faces set with determination as they prepared to reveal humanity's true capabilities to an unsuspecting galaxy. As the human fleet assembled, the first tendrils of the precursor station's influence began to reach deeper into occupied space. Nexari ships found their systems going haywire, advanced weaponry reduced to useless hunks of metal. Panic spread through their ranks as reports flooded in of an unstoppable human armada advancing on their positions. The stage was set for a battle that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. Humanity, long dismissed as weak and fearful, was about to show the true face of their strength. And as Commander Grimes watched his forces deploy from the Council Chamber's observation deck, he allowed himself a moment of grim satisfaction. The galaxy had called humanity cowards. They were about to learn just how wrong they had been. The vast expanse of space erupted into a dazzling spectacle as the human fleet emerged from hyperspace, their ships gleaming with an otherworldly sheen that defied conventional understanding. The Nexari forces, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the human armada, scrambled to form defensive positions. But it was already too late. Commander Grimes stood on the bridge of the HSS Prometheus, his eyes fixed on the tactical display before him. The holographic representation of the battlefield showed the Nexari fleet as a chaotic swarm of red markers, their formations in disarray as they struggled to adapt to the humans' unexpected arrival. But there was something else. A pulsing anomaly at the edge of the display, its presence sending ripples of interference across the battlefield. All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt, Grimes ordered, his voice calm and steady. Epsilon Squadron, initiate EMP burst sequence. Delta Wing, prepare for precision strikes on designated targets. And Omega Team, begin analysis of the anomaly. As the words left his mouth, the human fleet sprang into action with a synchronicity that seemed almost supernatural. Ships moved in perfect harmony, their formations shifting and adapting with fluid grace that left even the most seasoned alien observers speechless. Aboard the Galactic Council's observation vessel, High Counselor Zax Tara watched in awe as the battle unfolded. "By the cosmic winds," she whispered, her luminescent eyes wide with disbelief. "I've never seen such coordination. It's as if their ships are extensions of a single mind." Counselor de Thaler, the grizzled Taurian veteran, leaned forward, his battle-scarred face a mask of concentration. "Look at their attack pattern," he growled, mandibles clicking in agitation. "It's not just advanced technology. They're anticipating the Nexari's every move before they make it. But what's that disturbance at the edge of the battlefield?" As if to confirm de Thalor's observation, a group of Nexari cruisers attempted to flank the human fleet's left wing. But before they could execute their maneuver, a squadron of sleek human fighters appeared from seemingly nowhere, their hulls shimmering with adaptive camouflage. The fighters unleashed a barrage of pinpoint-accurate shots, disabling the Nexari ship's primary systems without destroying them outright. "Incredible," muttered Coronath, the Quantari scientist. "Their weapons, they're not just destroying, they're neutralizing with surgical precision. But how?" The Nexari shielding technology should be impenetrable to such targeted attacks. The answer came moments later as the human fleet unleashed its next surprise. A wave of energy pulsed from the largest human vessels, washing over the battlefield like an invisible tide. As it passed, Nexari ships began to drift, their systems going dark one by one. An electromagnetic pulse, Coronath gasped, her tentacles writhing in excitement. But it's selective. It's only affecting the Nexari ships. How is that possible? On the Prometheus, Grimes allowed himself a small smile. Phase 2 complete, he announced. All ships, initiate containment protocols. Prepare boarding parties for capture and retrieval operations. Omega Team, report on the anomaly. A holographic projection of a massive, otherworldly structure materialized on the bridge. Commander, reported the lead scientist of Omega Team, the anomaly appears to be some kind of ancient space station. It's emitting energy signatures unlike anything we've ever seen. The signals seem to be interfering with Nexari communications and navigation systems. Grimes nodded, his expression unreadable. Just as we anticipated. Proceed with Operation Helios protocols. Back on the Council's observation vessel, the alien representatives watched in stunned silence as the humans systematically dismantled the Nexari fleet. It wasn't just the advanced technology that left them in awe, but the way the humans seemed to predict and counter every Nexari tactic with uncanny accuracy. They know, Dathalor rumbled, breaking the silence. Somehow the humans know exactly how the Nexari think, how they fight. This isn't just superior firepower. This is complete strategic dominance, and they seem to have known about that station before we did. As if to underscore his point, a group of Nexari ships managed to reactivate their systems, attempting a desperate gambit to break through the human lines and reach the mysterious station. But before they could even begin their charge, a squad of human vessels moved to intercept, their formations shifting in a way that seemed to anticipate not just the Nexari's current move, but their next three as well. It's like they're reading their minds, Zaxitara breathed, her voice a mix of awe and growing unease. How is this possible? The Nexari battle doctrine is one of the most closely guarded secrets in the galaxy. Even our best intelligence agencies have only fragments of understanding. And that station, how long have the humans known about its existence? The battle continued to unfold, each moment revealing new depths to the humans' capabilities. Their ships danced through the chaos of combat with a grace that seemed almost artistic, every movement precise and purposeful. Weapons fire lanced out with pinpoint accuracy, disabling key systems on Nexari vessels without causing catastrophic damage. As the council members watched, they began to notice patterns in the human assault. Each strike seemed calculated not just for maximum tactical effect, but to elicit specific responses from the Nexari commanders. Look there, Coronath pointed out, her scientific mind racing to analyze the patterns. The humans aren't just exploiting weaknesses in Nexari technology. They're manipulating their psychological responses. See how they're leaving deliberate openings in their formations? They're baiting the Nexari into specific maneuvers, then countering them perfectly. Dathalor nodded grimly. It's more than that. They're using the Nexari's own cultural values against them. See how they're targeting the command ships last? They know the Nexari would rather die than abandon their leaders. They're using that loyalty to keep the fleet clustered and vulnerable. As the realization sank in, a new wave of unease swept through the observation deck. The humans weren't just winning a battle. They were demonstrating a level of understanding about their enemy that went beyond mere military intelligence. On the Prometheus, Grimes watched as the final phase of the battle plan unfolded. All ships, execute Operation Checkmate, he commanded. Quantum entanglement disruptors, activate on my mark. Omega Team, prepare to neutralize the station's interference. Across the human fleet, a new type of weapon came to life. Beams of coruscating energy lanced out, connecting human ships to their Nexari counterparts in a web of light. As the energy pulses stabilized, the Nexari ships found themselves trapped, unable to engage their faster-than-light drives, or even move from their current positions. Simultaneously, a specialized team of human ships broke off from the main fleet, heading towards the mysterious station. As they approached, the station's pulsing energy signature began to fluctuate, then stabilize. "By the void," Zaxtara whispered, her composure finally cracking. "They've nullified the Nexari's quantum probability drives and somehow tamed that ancient technology. How long have the humans possessed these capabilities?" The question hung in the air, unanswered and increasingly unsettling. As the council members watched, the human fleet began the final stage of their operation. Boarding parties swarmed onto the immobilized Nexari vessels, their movements so swift and coordinated that it seemed like a rehearsed dance rather than a military operation. Within minutes, reports began flooding in. Nexari ships were surrendering en masse, their crews offering no resistance as human forces took control. It was as if the fight had been drained out of them, their will to resist shattered by the overwhelming display of human superiority and the mysterious influence of the ancient station. As the last of the Nexari vessels fell silent, a hush fell over the battlefield. The human fleet hung in space, their ships barely scratched, a stark contrast to the devastation they had wrought upon their enemies. In the distance, the ancient station pulsed with a steady, controlled energy, now clearly under human command. Commander Grimes's voice crackled over the comms, addressing not just his fleet, but the watching council members as well. "Operation Thunderbolt complete. All Nexari forces have been neutralized or captured. Minimal casualties on both sides. The anomalous station has been secured. Initiating post-battle containment and recovery procedures." The clinical efficiency of his words only served to heighten the sense of unreality that had settled over the observers. What they had just witnessed wasn't merely a victory, it was a complete paradigm shift in the balance of power in the galaxy. As the human ships began the process of securing their prisoners and salvaging valuable technology, the council members exchanged worried glances. The humans had just demonstrated not only overwhelming military might, but also an unprecedented level of strategic and cultural understanding of their adversaries, as well as the ability to control ancient, unknown technology. "We need to convene an emergency session," Zaxtara said, her voice low and urgent. "The implications of what we've seen here, they go far beyond this single conflict. That station, its very existence changes everything we thought we knew about galactic history." Dithalor nodded grimly. "Agreed. The humans have been holding back far more than we ever imagined. We need to reassess everything we thought we knew about their capabilities and intentions. And we need to find out what else they know that we don't." As the council members hurried to their private chambers, the battlefield continued to buzz with activity. Human ships methodically secured their prizes, their efficiency a stark reminder of the power they had just unveiled. The mysterious station loomed in the background, a silent testament to secrets yet to be revealed. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Commander Grimes allowed himself a moment of quiet satisfaction. Phase 1 was complete. The galaxy had called humanity cowards, mocked their reluctance to engage in conflict. Now, they had demonstrated the true extent of their preparation and power. But as he watched the aftermath of the battle unfold, Grimes knew that this was only the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead. Navigating the political and diplomatic fallout of their overwhelming victory and the revelation of the ancient station. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. As if on cue, a priority message flashed on his console. It was from Earth Command, marked with the highest level of encryption. Grimes opened it, his eyes scanning the contents quickly. A small smile played at the corners of his mouth as he read the final line. "Operation Helios is now in full effect. Proceed to Phase 2. The battle was won, but the true test of humanity's place in the galaxy was just beginning. And as Commander Grimes prepared for the next stage of their grand strategy, he couldn't help but wonder how their alien allies and adversaries would react when they realized that this overwhelming display of power was just the tip of the iceberg. The Nexari fleet lay in ruins, a testament to human ingenuity and power. The ancient station pulsed with potential, its secrets now in human hands. But as Grimes looked out at the stars, he knew that the real challenge lay in what came next. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their tactics, but their ability to surprise and adapt. As the dust settled on the battlefield, the true impact of humanity's revelation began to ripple across the galaxy. The age of human timidity was over. A new era had begun, and the universe would never be the same. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with an energy unlike anything seen in centuries. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered, their faces a kaleidoscope of emotions: awe, admiration, and barely concealed unease. At the center of it all stood Commander Lucas Grimes, his stoic demeanor a stark contrast to the tumultuous atmosphere surrounding him. High Counselor Zax Tara stepped forward, her luminescent form seeming to pulse with barely contained excitement. "Commander Grimes," she began, her voice carrying across the hushed chamber. "On behalf of the Galactic Council, I extend our deepest gratitude and admiration for humanity's decisive action in ending the Nexari threat." A chorus of agreement rippled through the assembly, punctuated by the rhythmic thumping of Taurian hooves and the melodic trills of the Quantari. Grimes nodded, his expression betraying nothing of his inner thoughts. "The skill and power demonstrated by your forces," Zax Tara continued, "have ushered in a new era of peace and security for our galaxy. We stand in awe of your technological prowess and strategic brilliance." As she spoke, holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber, replaying key moments from the battle. The assembled delegates watched in stunned silence as human ships danced through Nexari formations, their weapons striking with surgical precision. The final moments of the conflict played out once more. The mysterious ancient station pulsing with energy, now clearly under human control, as the last Nexari vessels surrendered. Dethalor, the grizzled Taurian war veteran, stepped forward. His voice, usually a threatening growl, now carried a note of genuine respect. "Never in my long years have I witnessed such a masterful display of warfare. The way you anticipated and countered every Nexari move. It was as if you could read their very thoughts." Grimes allowed himself a small smile. "The key to victory lies not just in superior firepower, but in understanding your opponent. We've spent years studying not just Nexari tactics, but their culture, their psychology. Every move we made was calculated to exploit not just their technological weaknesses, but their cultural blind spots." A murmur of amazement swept through the crowd. The implications of Grimes's words were staggering. How long had the humans been preparing? How much did they truly know about each species in the galaxy? Coronath, the Quantari scientist, couldn't contain her curiosity any longer. "Commander," she began, her tentacles quivering with excitement, "the technology you displayed, it defies our current understanding of physics. Those quantum entanglement disruptors alone could revolutionize space travel and communication. And that ancient station, how did you know of its existence? How were you able to control it so quickly?" Grimes' expression remained impassive. "As I said, understanding is key. We've been exploring the galaxy's secrets for longer than you might imagine. As for the station, let's just say it's not the first of its kind we've encountered." The implications of his words sent a shiver through the assembly. What other secrets were the humans hiding? As the formal proceedings continued, new alliances were forged in hushed conversations and subtle gestures. Species that had long stood apart now found common ground in their admiration and fear of human capabilities. Trade agreements were proposed, cultural exchange programs suggested, and military cooperation pacts discreetly discussed. Throughout it all, Grimes remained a calm center in the storm of activity. He accepted accolades with grace, but deflected probing questions with practiced ease. His eyes, however, constantly scanned the room, missing nothing. As the celebration wound down, Grimes prepared to depart. Before he could leave, a young Arcturian diplomat approached, her crystalline form shimmering with nervous energy. "Commander," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I just wanted to say thank you. My homeworld was next in the Nexari's path. You saved billions of lives today." For the first time, genuine emotion flickered across Grimes's face. He placed a hand gently on the Arcturian's shoulder. "That's why we do what we do," he said softly. "To protect those who can't protect themselves." As Grimes departed, the chamber erupted in speculation. The simple gesture, more than any display of military might, had humanized the enigmatic commander. It left many wondering about the true nature of humanity's intentions. Meanwhile, on Earth and human colonies across the galaxy, a very different scene was unfolding. News of the victory spread like wildfire, igniting celebrations on a scale not seen since the end of the last Great War. Streets filled with cheering crowds, holographic displays replayed battle footage on every corner, and impromptu parades sprang up in cities both on terra firma and in orbital habitats. In New Washington, the heart of the human government, President Ayla Sinclair addressed a sea of jubilant faces. "Today," she proclaimed, her voice carrying the weight of history, "humanity has shown that we are not just members of the galactic community. We are its guardians. For years we've worked in the shadows, building our strength, honing our skills. Some mistook our patience for weakness, our caution for cowardice. Today, we've shown the true measure of human resolve." The crowd roared its approval, a sound echoed on 1,000 worlds. Humanity, long seen as a junior partner in galactic affairs, had in one stroke reshaped the cosmic balance of power. But far from the celebrations, in a secure chamber deep within the Council's headquarters, a very different meeting was taking place. The highest-ranking members of the Galactic Council sat in tense silence, the weight of recent events hanging heavy in the air. High Counselor Zaxtara spoke first, her usual luminescence dimmed with concern. "We cannot ignore the implications of what we've witnessed. The humans didn't just defeat the Nexari. They dismantled them with ease. They've been preparing for this for years, perhaps decades. The question we must ask is, why?" Dethalor's mandibles clicked in agitation. "It's clear they've been studying us all. Not just the Nexari, but every species in the galaxy. They know our strengths, our weaknesses, our deepest cultural drives. In the wrong hands, such knowledge could be a weapon more powerful than any battleship," Coronath interjected, her tentacles coiling nervously. "Let's not forget the technological leap they've demonstrated. Quantum entanglement disruption, perfect adaptive camouflage, and weapons that can disable rather than destroy on a massive scale. And that ancient station, who knows what other artifacts they've discovered and mastered." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. It was Councillor Drall, the usually taciturn Volcran, who finally spoke. "We're asking the wrong questions," he rumbled. "It's not just about what they can do, but what they plan to do with this power. Do they seek to lead the Council? Or might they aim to supplant it entirely?" The possibility hung in the air, unspoken but undeniable. Humanity, once dismissed as upstart newcomers to the galactic stage, now held the power to reshape civilization itself. Zaxtara's voice was heavy with the weight of decision. "We must proceed with utmost caution. The humans must not suspect our concerns. We'll continue to celebrate their victory publicly, but privately. We must prepare for all possibilities." Dethalor nodded grimly. "I'll discreetly reach out to my military contacts. We need to assess our capabilities honestly. If it came to conflict, let us pray it doesn't," Coronath interjected. "A war with humanity now would be catastrophic. We've seen what they can do to an enemy. Imagine what they might do if truly provoked." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. The unspoken question lingered. Had they, in their complacency, allowed a wolf into the galactic fold? As the meeting adjourned, each member left with a heavy heart and a mind racing with possibilities. The galaxy had changed irrevocably, and the future had never seemed more uncertain. In the depths of space, aboard the HSS Prometheus, Commander Grimes stood alone on the observation deck. The vast star field stretched before him, a canvas of infinite possibility. His comlink chimed, displaying a message with the highest level of encryption. Phase 2 initiated. Project Lazarus is go. Grimes allowed himself a small smile. The true test was just beginning. Humanity had revealed its strength, but its greatest challenges and its true intentions remained hidden in the shadows of the cosmos. As the Prometheus cruised silently through the star-studded void, the ancient station pulsed with eldritch energy in its wake. The galaxy held its breath, unaware that the game had changed. The humans weren't afraid of war. They had been preparing for something far greater, and now, at last, the pieces were in motion. Hey there again. I'm glad you've come so far. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button. This is really important to the channel. Really important. And I have one more thing for you. I've chosen another video for you to watch. Just click the card here, or here if you want the whole playlist. See you there.